back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new to my channel, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button to stay inspired to wise up and rise up above these narcissists. And if you enjoy this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. What it does is it helps with the algorithm to get this video out there to more people who need this message, right? So at the end of the day, if you clicked on this video, you want to know more about how can you set boundaries after a narcissistic abusive relationship. Now, everybody's boundary levels is different because at the end of the day, right, everybody's healing journey is on a different wavelength as well. To me, I don't like to tell people exactly and say, hey, you need to do this, because then you start to be harsh on yourself and you start saying, oh man, like I need to do this, and then you force yourself. At the end of the day, what I try to tell people when it comes to boundaries is only you can know what your boundaries look like in your current situation. So at the end of the day, right, let's say you stop talking to the narcissist. You're not talking to the narcissist no more, right? And you know that everybody's telling you and you're hearing all that you need to block the narcissist. You need to block them. But at the end of the day, you feel like you're not there yet, right? Mentally, emotionally, you don't feel like you can take it to that level yet. I get that. I was there. For such a long period of time, I was playing cat and mouse, cat and mouse, cat and mouse. Like 1 minute I was blocking him, and the next minute I was unblocking him. The next minute I was blocking him, the next minute I was unblocking him. And he was doing the same thing, right? So at the end of the day, I turned and said to myself, only I can know when enough is enough, and I'm just gonna block him and keep him blocked. But you see, in my situation, I turned around and said, what's the point of blocking him? I've reached to a mental space where I'm just like, fuck it. If I want to message him, I'm going to message him, and I'm going to have to deal with the consequences after to learn another lesson that I needed to learn that I didn't learn yet, right? That's my perspective. So I didn't block him because I kept unblocking him, blocking him, unblocking him. And then when I just followed my emotions and acted on what I felt like doing and then dealt with the consequences, and yes, it reopens the womb. Yes, you're gonna have to feel it and learn your lesson again because they don't change. So literally you're going back into the same cycle of bullshit all over again. But only you are the one that's gonna have to deal with that bullshit and actually go through the pain and the hurt all over again, right? So that's why I said, when setting boundaries, only you can know when enough is enough. And what does your boundaries look like with that enough is enough, right? So for me now, I have reached that level where it's just like, I don't need to block my ex-narcissist, because at the end of the day, I don't message him like that no more. I'm content with myself. You know what I mean? I love myself enough to know that I don't want to keep going through that dirty pattern. Been there, done that. I've been doing it, and it's just a dirty cycle, right? So you got to know what your boundaries are like, where you're at in your situation with the narcissist. Same thing with like if they have social media, right? And you're following their social media, you're still looking at, if you still have them open, you haven't blocked them yet, and you're looking at them, looking at your stories, looking at your content, all that stuff like that. You got to understand what your boundaries levels at. Do you want to keep, allowing this person to have access to your life? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, because you know that when they're looking at your stories, they are going to jump up inside of your mind. You're going to be like, oh, but why are they looking at my stories? Do they still care? But they have a new supply. Why are they looking at my stories? Or this. Hello. The end of the day, guess what? You're just driving yourself crazy. At the end of the day, they know that you're going to check if they're watching your stories. So I always tell people, how does the narcissist still have control over your life? Through your mind and your emotions. So if they can still get a reaction out of you, which they know, even if you don't message them, you're still reacting to them looking at your stories. So that means they still have power over you. And if they know that you didn't, how they look at it, if they didn't block me, I could still have access to that person whenever I feel like it. So it's all about access to the narcissist, right? Is knowing that they have access to you. So if you're not blocking them on social media, if you're not blocking their phone number or any of that stuff like that, it's like a door opener for them to, they know that they could come and talk to you whenever they feel like it, and come mess with your mind and mess with your emotions all over again. So it's like you're leaving that door open for them to keep coming and talking back and forth whenever they feel like it, right? Or if you leave that door open and they're not messaging you, they know that whenever they do feel like it, they have access to you, right? So and they know that if you're not blocking them, they in their mind, they're thinking, oh, you still care, right? So it's all about a game with the narcissist. So you got to know what does your boundaries look like for you. And how you can know that is start asking yourself the right question. I was literally on a live earlier on, and somebody asked me, can you please do a live on boundaries, right? And I said, hey, you know what's so crazy? I personally, before I found out my ex-narcissist was narcissist, I didn't know what boundaries look like. My aunt made a good analogy, and she basically said one day, Tracy, you like to get punched in your face. I said, what the hell? What are you talking about? I'm not getting punched in my face. And she's just like, yeah, you are. Because at the end of the day, mental and emotional abuse, verbal abuse, is maybe even worse than actual physical abuse. Because that abuse is messing with your mind. It's deteriorating your mind. It's affecting your mind. It's affecting your emotions, which then affects the body through stress, anxiety, and breaks down your body. You feel sick. So at the end of the day, it's just as bad as getting punched in your face. So if you keep allowing this person in access to your life, then that means you're allowing the punches to come, right? So at the end of the day, my aunt said, you like getting punched in your face, don't you? And then I was just like, no, I don't. So how do I stop this? And that's when she introduced me to the word, you need to set healthy boundaries. You need to put your foot down. You need to block him. You need to stop talking to him. You need to stop wanting closure from this person, because at the end of the day, you know that they're never going to give you closure, right? And when I started to see these things, it started to allow me to take the focus off of him, off of the narcissist, him, her, whoever's listening to this, off of the narcissist, and then focus inward on me. What does boundaries look like in a whole for me? So then I started to say to myself, my boundaries look like I need to protect my time. I need to protect my energy. I need to protect my temple, my body, because your body is your temple. When you have sex easily, right? You're transferring energy, right, with another person. That's not setting healthy boundaries of protecting your temple. These are some examples I'm going to give you. When you're hanging around toxic people or talking toxic things about another person, that's not setting healthy boundaries of saying to that other person, I don't want to talk about anything toxic, because I know if I talk about anything toxic, it's affecting my mind, right? That's setting healthy boundaries with people that are inside of your life, right? Let's say you know that a person is very argumental, right? Like let's say you're the narcissist, likes to come and just likes to call you names or argue with you or whatever. Setting healthy boundaries is blocking. It's putting your foot down to say, hey, if you're going to keep talking to me like this right now, I'm going to set a restraining order on you. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to allow you to disrespect me and affect me mentally, emotionally whenever you feel like it, right? When I'm telling you right now that you need to stop. So at the end of the day, you see what I mean? There's levels to the boundaries and what you are willing to take it to, right? The same thing when I tell with people who co-parent with the narcissist, right? I remember at one point, my ex-narcissist was super mad at me, and he had his new supply and his life was going great, but still he was very abusive mentally and emotionally when we would talk about my daughter. I had to turn around and say, you know what I'm saying? We got to go through emails. That's it. Because if you can't communicate to me properly verbally, speaking over the phone, or through text message, then I think it's best if we just send emails. What the emails does now is that, again, it leaves a paper trail, first of all. And second of all, it's like you're not always on your email. You're not always going to see your email, right? So it gives you access to, again, have your boundaries of when you're gonna reply, right? That you don't need to reply right away, because 99.9 of the times, let's be honest with ourselves, we're on our phones. We're always gonna see when a text message comes through. We're always gonna see when a call comes through, right? So I would say email is the best bet if you're dealing with a narcissist and you're co-parenting and the person is verbal towards you. Like I said, only you can know when enough is enough. Another healthy boundary if you're co-parenting with a narcissist, maybe a healthy drop-off place, right? Maybe drop the kids off in a open space, right? So then the narcissist can't verbally and abuse you in public, or do it at a family member's, or do it at a friend's, right? Setting that healthy boundaries that I'm not going to give you alone time with me for you to abuse me mentally, emotionally when you see me when you're picking up and dropping off the child, right? See what I'm saying, you guys? There's different levels to the boundaries that you can set with the narcissist, whether you're co-parenting, whether, you know what I mean, you're not in a relationship with the narcissist anymore, you block them, you delete their number, you know what I mean? Another boundary in taking care of yourself is, let's say you have friends that know the narcissist. You set those healthy boundaries that, hey, this person was toxic and I know you're still friends with them, but I gotta, limit the time or limit the things that you're saying to that person, because at the end of the day, you don't know if those friends are going back and telling the narcissist and doing triangulation, right? Or they're being flying monkeys, they call it, right? That go back and tell the narcissist everything about you, to have something to talk about the narcissist, talk with the narcissist. So at the end of the day, only you and you alone can know what your boundaries look like. I gave you guys perfect examples on some boundaries on what you can set with the narcissist. But at the end of the day, like I said, I never like to tell people what to do, because at the end of the day, you're the only person that has to wake up in the morning time and deal with, the after effects through your mind and your emotion when you do set those healthy boundaries, right? It's not going to be easy, because at the end of the day, you're now reprogramming your mind and you're reprogramming what you're used to doing something else. And our ego, our mind doesn't like change. It doesn't like the unknown. This is why we stay with narcissists for so long, because our mind is scared of the unknown and likes to stay in the known. So that's why we keep up with these toxic patterns of accepting and allowing the disrespect, the abuse mentally and emotionally, because it's normal to us. Our body becomes normal to it, right? But self-love, when you start to embody self-love and you start to educate yourself on what is self-love and what does it look like to you, right? Then you are able to say, I can set these healthy boundaries because I love myself. Right? So that's another important step as well when you're about to set healthy boundaries, or you want to set healthy boundaries, is learn more about yourself and what does self-love look like to you. How can you start showing self-love to yourself, right? Besides just boundaries, because setting boundaries is basically taking power and control over your mind and your emotions again, to say enough is enough, that you're going to start putting you first. Because for such a long period of time, we had put the narcissist in front of ourselves because they conditioned us to be that way. But a lot of times people don't understand boundaries as well from even when they were growing up as a child. Because a lot of times our parents, back in the days didn't know any better, and they would teach us, don't be selfish, make sure you're taking care of your brothers and sisters, make sure you're doing this, or be nice to this person, or respect your elders here, even if those people outside of us are not respecting our boundaries. So a lot of times we grow up and we don't even understand, again, we weren't taught what boundaries are, right? So boundaries are part of putting yourself first and really understanding, again, how can I love myself and show myself self-love and listen and hear myself to really take in what I feel, listening to your feelings, listening to yourself. What you feel does not feel right, or does not feel like you want to do this. And respect those feelings, respect that inner voice, right? Because I always say you can't be good for nobody else in this world, not your kids, not your auntie, not your uncle, not your mom, not nobody, unless you're good with you first. Because everything inside here, right, is what's going to project a better reality, a better relationship with your kids, a better relationship with your family, a better relationship with friends, all that other stuff. So if this ain't here is not right, you can't see a better environment, because your environment and your outside reality is a reflection of what's going on within, right? This is why I say narcissists are actually a blessing, because they come to teach us valuable lessons that we need to learn within inside of ourselves, and they are like triggers that we need to learn certain stuff within inside ourselves. So a lot of times narcissists come inside of our lives to teach us that we need to learn more about self-love within inside ourselves. We need to learn more about what is boundaries. We need to learn more about how can we heal certain parts of ourselves where we don't put ourselves we don't put ourselves first, right? Which is part of self-love. So at the end of the day, again, when you can flip the script and how you view what happened to you with the narcissist and actually turn it inwards to put the focus in on you, is when you can start your healing journey to actually implement the healthy boundaries and actually start standing your power to show yourself more self-love and more self-care, right? And again, when you can start implementing these things is when you take the power away from the narcissist, because what the narcissist always wants is power over your mind and your emotions, and to know that they still have access over you. Because if they still have access over you, then they can still control you and manipulate you and gaslight you and disrespect you. And those things actually are supplied to the narcissist, right? Because there's good supply and there's bad supply. And if you don't know what good supply and bad supply is, make sure you're checking out my YouTube channel, because I have a bunch of content that teaches you about that. But you guys, like, boundaries is so damn important. It's the first step of healing, I believe. And I showed you a different ways and how you could start implementing boundaries with the narcissist and start, again, turning inwards to learn what does boundaries look like for you. Because like, you can watch all these videos on boundaries and this, but I honestly feel all the answers lie within inside yourself, right? It's really sitting with yourself and asking yourself the right questions, right? On what works best for you. Because what would work best for me may not be working best for you, because again, you have your own life path, you have your own journey, you have your own past childhood experiences or whatever. So my boundaries are obviously going to look different to yours, but boundaries is boundaries. It's part of self-love, right? It's basically putting yourself first to really respect how you feel, how you think, you know what I mean? And listening to those feelings, and then putting yourself first to implement that outside of you. That's my perspective on boundaries, you guys. And one day at a time. When you're implementing new things, you got to be gentle with your mind. You got to understand that your mind is programmed to think a certain way for such a long period of time. So when you're trying to implement something new, it's really challenging for the mind to accept it and change. So that's why I always tell people, one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time, because all you have is this very moment. Right? The future is created by your thoughts and your words that you speak today and your actions. The past is the past. We can't go back and change it, but we can learn from the past, right? So take one day at a time on this journey of learning how to set healthy boundaries for you, and really, again, taking the time to do it step by step. Rome was not built in a day. Don't push yourself to, oh, I need to set all these boundaries today. No, focus on one area and then take baby steps. You know what I mean? And that's my opinion again on boundaries. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I really, really appreciate all the support that you guys give to my YouTube channel and all my other social media contents. You know, the Wise Up Rise Up NARC community is here to support you. I honestly feel that I love everybody who watches all my videos. I'm sending love, I'm sending motivation, I'm sending inspiration your way for you guys to learn how to self-heal. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I really do truly believe all the answers that we seek is within inside of ourselves, but we just need to spend time with ourselves and trust ourselves and listen to ourselves to hear all the answers that we already have within inside of ourselves. You can listen to other people speak, you can get, a psychiatrist, you can get a coach, you can get this, but really and truly, all the answers that you seek and all the answers that you need are within inside yourself. And everything that you hear with outside of yourself is just a trigger for you to really, keep diving deeper to listen to your inner voice and trust yourself within inside yourself. Again, thank you so much for joining the Wise Up, Rise Up NARC community. And if you guys want to check out any other platforms, go check out my TikTok channel. Go check out my podcast. Go check out my Instagram. A lot of great content on there that I spit every freaking day to keep you, and on my Facebook, to keep you inspired and motivated to wise up and rise up above these narcissists. I'll put all the links in the comments below, you guys. And if you guys have any questions throughout this video, please leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll for sure answer them. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys again on another video.